The first time she asked him, it didn't sound like a joke. "Can you pretend to be my date for a day?" Her voice was soft, almost embarrassed, like she regretted the words the second they left her mouth. Daniel Carter looked up from the grocery shelf he'd been staring at for 5 full minutes, trying to calculate whether he could afford both cereal and diapers this week. His 5-year-old daughter, Lily, clutched his leg, humming to herself and dragging a pink sneaker across the tiled floor. The woman standing in front of him looked like she hadn't slept in days. Her coat was too thin for the cold, her shoes scuffed, her hands trembling as she held a cheap flip phone. "I'm sorry," she added quickly. "I know that sounds crazy." Daniel blinked. "I what?" She swallowed. "It's just for a few hours, my sister's wedding. I told my family I was seeing someone. They think I'm doing fine." Her lips pressed together in a tight line. "I'm not." There was something in her eyes, shame maybe, or exhaustion. Daniel had seen that look before, in the mirror. 3 years ago, he'd buried his wife. Since then, life had become a constant balancing act. Work, daycare, bills, grief that showed up uninvited at 2 a.m. He wasn't exactly date material. He barely had time to shower without Lily barging in with questions about dinosaurs. "I can pay you," the woman rushed out. "Not much. I just need someone kind, someone normal." Kind normal. Daniel almost laughed. If she only knew how chaotic his mornings were. "Why me?" he asked cautiously. She glanced at Lily. "Because you're holding your daughter's hand like she's the most important thing in the world, and she's smiling." Daniel looked down. Lily was indeed smiling at absolutely nothing. The woman straightened. "I'm Sarah." "Daniel. And this must be Lily." Lily peeked from behind his leg. "Hi." Sarah's expression softened in a way that didn't look fake. She crouched slightly to Lily's height. "Hi, sweetheart." Daniel hesitated. Every responsible instinct screamed no. He didn't know her. He had responsibilities. And pretending to be someone's boyfriend at a wedding, that was a mess waiting to happen. But he also knew what it felt like to stand alone at family gatherings, to have relatives whisper about how sad your life had become. "What exactly would I have to do?" he asked carefully. Sarah let out a shaky breath, relief flickering across her face. "Just show up, smile, sit next to me, maybe dance once, make it look real." "For a whole day." "Just the ceremony and reception." Daniel glanced at Lily again. He'd planned to drop her at his sister's place that Saturday anyway. It wasn't impossible. But that wasn't what made him answer. It was the way Sarah's shoulders seemed to fold inward, like she was bracing for rejection. He knew that posture. "Okay," he said. Her eyes widened. "Okay. Okay, we'll pretend." For the first time, she smiled fully, and it changed her entire face. "Thank you," she whispered. Daniel didn't know it yet, but that single word was about to rearrange his life in ways he never expected. The wedding was nothing like Daniel imagined. It was held in a grand hotel ballroom, chandeliers glittering like stars. Everyone looked polished, expensive, confident. Sarah did not. Her dress was beautiful but simple. Daniel noticed the tiny stitch near the hem, like it had been repaired by hand. She kept smoothing it nervously as they walked in. "You look amazing," he told her quietly. She gave him a grateful look. "You clean up well yourself." He'd borrowed his brother-in-law's suit. The moment they stepped inside, heads turned. Not because they were extraordinary, but because they were new. Sarah's family spotted her instantly. Her mother approached first, perfectly styled, lips tight. "So this is him." Daniel extended his hand. "Daniel Carter." Her mother shook it, evaluating him like he was an investment opportunity. "And what do you do, Daniel?" "I work maintenance at Westbrook Apartments." There was a pause, a flicker of disappointment. Sarah's fingers slipped into his, squeezing slightly. He squeezed back. It felt oddly natural. Throughout the ceremony, he played his role well. He leaned in to whisper small jokes. He brushed imaginary dust from her shoulder. He held her hand when the vows got emotional. But something unexpected happened. It stopped feeling like pretending. At the reception, Sarah relaxed. She laughed, really laughed, when Lily's crayon drawing that Daniel had tucked in his pocket fell out as he reached for his wallet. "You carry her drawings with you?" she asked. "Of course, she says they're for protection." "Protection from what?" "Everything." Sarah stared at him for a second too long. Later, during a slow song, she looked up at him as they swayed awkwardly. "You're not what I expected," she admitted. "Good or bad?" "Good," she said softly, "too good." He frowned. "What does that mean?" She hesitated. "My family thinks I'm a failure," she confessed. "I lost my job 6 months ago. Medical bills wiped out my savings. I've been doing part-time cleaning work. They don't know." I was embarrassed. Daniel's jaw tightened. "You're not a failure." "You don't know that." "I do," he said firmly. "You asked a stranger for help because you didn't want to disappoint your family. That's not failure. That's someone trying." Her eyes shimmered. "Why are you being so nice?" she whispered. He didn't answer immediately. Because he saw something in her he recognized. Someone fighting quietly. "Because someone once showed me kindness when I was falling apart," he said finally, "and it saved me." She rested her forehead lightly against his chest. And for a moment, neither of them moved. Across the room, Sarah's mother watched. And for the first time that night, she wasn't looking disappointed. She was looking surprised. The day ended. The pretending was supposed to end with it. Outside the hotel, the air was cold and still. Sarah wrapped her arms around herself. "You don't have to keep walking me to my car," she said. "I know." They stopped beside her old sedan. "This was more than I expected," she admitted. Daniel nodded. "Yeah." Silence stretched between them, heavy but not uncomfortable. "So," she said, forcing a small smile, "thank you for being my date for a day." He looked at her carefully. "What if I don't want it to be just a day?" Her breath caught. "Daniel." "I'm not saying I'm perfect," he continued. "I'm a single dad. I'm broke half the time. I still talk to my late wife when things get hard." He gave a self-conscious shrug. "But when I was standing next to you today, it didn't feel fake." Tears welled in her eyes. "You barely know me." "Then let me." She laughed softly through her tears. "You're serious." "I am." She searched his face, like she was trying to find the catch. "There isn't one," he said gently. "You don't need to rescue me." "I'm not," he replied. "I'm asking if you'd like to try for real, not pretending." A long pause. Then she nodded. "I'd like that." He smiled, slow, genuine, hopeful. And just like that, the script they'd rehearsed for one day became unnecessary. Months later, Lily would run into Sarah's arms after school. A year later, Sarah would find a stable job again, and Daniel would be in the front row of her small office celebration, clapping the loudest. And one quiet evening, as they sat on the same grocery store floor where they'd first met, Lily drawing pictures between them, Sarah would tease him. "You know," she'd say, smiling, "you were supposed to be my fake date." Daniel would kiss her forehead gently. "Best role I ever played," he'd answer. Except it was never a role at all. It was the beginning.